Alright, so this is a video that I'm making to discuss the ARG that I made for Team 67 for the 128 Teams Challenge to pseudo-launch the Discord server for the channel. And, I mean, this video means that now the code is going to become public, and there it is. That's the solution to the ARG. You take these 10 numbers and letters and you put them into the https/discord whatever. And I'll have a link in the description of this video, flat out just giving you the link to the Discord. If you want to join the Discord, hopefully it turns out pretty great in there, but I've never run a Discord server before, I will admit. So we're going to be hopefully running things on a kind of trial basis to try and figure some things out. But about the actual ARG itself, the ARG had 11 clues, but technically 10, because clues 1 and 2 are pretty similar in the fact that they both also appear on the screen at the same time. But starting off, clues 1 and 2 look very similar to this, where it is a yellow text with 10 characters on the top and 10 characters on the bottom, and they are exclamation points and 1s, and L's and N's. So what I wanted you to get from this is that this is kind of the base structure of the letters and numbers, as L and N is meant to tell you that there is a letter going in that slot, so every L is where a letter is, and every N is where a number is. And I specifically accentuate letters and numbers whenever I'm talking about the ARG code that you need to figure out in the end, so that you would know that L's and N's is letters and numbers. And then the top part, the exclamation points and the 1s, is because the exclamation point and the 1 share the same key on the keyboard. It's just that one of them is a capital that you have to hit by shifting, and one of them is a lowercase. So all of the uppercase letters have exclamation points above them, and then all of the lowercase letters and numbers have the number 1 above them. And there's no like symbols like percent signs in Discord channel invite links, otherwise they would be demonstrated with exclamation points. Clue 3 and 4 are also pretty similar. It doesn't really matter which order you see them in, but clue 3 and 4 just establish that the 4th and the 5th one are the same letter, as they're both K, and the 6th and the 9th letter are the same, because they're both a capital B. So now that we have the groundwork set up for kind of what the... So none of those clues actually give you any of the codes yet. However, every clue after this will reveal a number or a letter. So on the top bit, you saw the region of Paldea with the symbol for the 2nd slot and the symbol for the 7th slot. And there is also a TM here, and this TM is a fire TM. So if you looked on the team, the only Pokemon that has a fire type move is Magmar with the move Fire Punch. In fact, that's specifically why I picked Magmar, is because I thought it would be a good Fire Punch user. So you take the fact that Fire Punch is the only move, and then you look at every time that Fire Punch has been a TM, and then you go down to Generation 9 since you have the Paldea map, and in Paldea, Fire Punch is the 76th TM, which means that the two numbers that you need from the earlier thing where you saw that you needed numbers for the 2nd and the 7th slot are 6 and 7. And I also want to add that I am kind of stupid, because I could have just made it that this is Team 67. This lined up absolutely perfectly, and I just didn't see it. Like, I could have... Instead of having to make this relate to it being Fire Punch, I could have made it relate to the fact that this is Team 67, but no, I had to go through this entire shenanigans right here in order to get 67 from the Fire Punch TM, when I could have just gotten it from the fact that we're currently on Team 67 for the this is an ARG team. Moving on to Clue 6. Clue 6 gives you a map of the Kalos region, but it also circles the left side of the Kalos region, and it has the symbol for the 3rd slot, as well as you have the Kalos Pokedex with the Terra Flying symbol. Now, the Terra Flying symbol tells you that you need to be looking at Tentacruel, as it was the only Terra Flying Pokemon on the team. And if you look at Tentacruel's Pokedex entry for specifically the coastal Kalos Pokedex entry, which is, you got Kalos and you've got the Kalos Dex, and I've circled the left side of Kalos, which is the coastal side, and that means that you get the number 26 for Tentacruel's Dex entry in Kalos, and 26 translates to a Z, as Z is the 26th letter of the alphabet, so in the third spot you get a capital Z. For the 7th clue, we have the evolution screen, and we have the clear amulet, as well as a rare candy and the symbol that indicates that we are working with the 8th slot. And with the clear amulet, we're going to be looking at Granbull, since Granbull is the Pokemon on this team that holds the clear amulet. And since I wanted you to be looking at the evolution screen, and we have the rare candy here to symbolize leveling, we look at whenever Snubbull evolves into Granbull, and that happens at level 23. So you take the 23, and then it makes it W, since W is the 23rd letter of the alphabet. I would say clue 8 is probably the most secretive one, as nobody's gotten the ARG so far, but the video's only been uploaded for 10 minutes, so I don't expect anybody to get it. But if there was a clue to trip anybody up, I think it would be this one, as we have a battlefield over here on the left, combined with a dictionary and a red squiggly line, along with the symbol for the 9th slot. And as we saw before from one of the earlier clues, the 9th slot also matches up with the 6th slot. But that's not important for right now. You need to figure out what's in the 9th slot first. So the red squiggly line and the dictionary indicates that you need to be looking at the spelling of something during the video, as Clamulet doesn't really refer to anything, it's just to show that the red squiggly line denotes whenever something is misspelled, and then the battlefield means that you need to be looking at the battles for whenever something is misspelled. And if you watched all of the battles and paid attention to the names that we have on the team, you would see that there is a battle where Granbull is actually Granol and is missing the B. So from that, you need to take the fact that B is actually the letter that goes into the 9th slot, and then from the earlier clue, it also goes into the 6th slot. For the 9th clue, we have the EV items, along with 2 knocked out faces that equal each other, and we also have a metric ruler that is placed vertically, and we have the symbol for the first character in the code. So from the first 2, you take the EVs, and you take the 2 knocked out, meaning that whenever a Pokemon is knocked out, it gives EVs, and you need the 2 Pokemon on the team that give EVs that are equal to each other, and that is Tentacruel and Hypno, who both give 2 special defense EVs whenever they are knocked out in the wild. They are the only 2 Pokemon that line up, as everything else is like 3 attack, or Smeargle's 1 speed, or they're all different, basically, other than Tentacruel and Hypno, who also happen to have the same height, as you need to be looking at height because of the vertical metric ruler, and we're working in metric, so you want that 1.6, which translates into being 16, which translates to being P, since P is the 16th letter of the alphabet, which means that the first slot is a P. Also, a side note, but I originally had all of the top things like vertical for this one, and that is a problem that I did that, because all of them became horizontal once this one I did vertically, and if you can figure out why it would be a problem for me to characterize all 4 of these things vertically, then you get a gold star. I think the 10th clue here has the ability to be either really easy or really tricky for some people, as we have a note for a PNG that is in the description of the video that has like a weird squiggly line here, as well as some squares around it, and we have the silhouette of a Pikachu along with a leader's crest item and the symbol for the 4th slot character there all the way on the right. So what you needed to do is you needed to look at the PNG in the description and think, why would you need a PNG? Is because you need to overlay it on something, as Pikachu's silhouette here means that the squiggly line is actually the partial silhouette of King Gambit, so that's what the leader's crest also means. And then once you have the squiggly line for King Gambit overlaid on King Gambit, you can see that these squares line up with all the different Ks in King Gambit's moveset, as we have the K in King Gambit and the K in King Gambit. We also have the K lines up with the Dark typing, and we have the K in Kowtow Cleave, Sucker Punch, and the 2 Ks in Low Kick. So if you can't tell, that means that K is the answer that you're looking for here for the 4th slot, and as from before, the 4th slot is also the 5th slot, so you get 2 Ks. And lastly, the 11th clue is just a little riddle that the end is at the end, where it is always the beginning. And so what I wanted you to do is to look at Smeargle, who is the end Pokemon on the team, and all of Smeargle's moves and its item. I threw that in a little bit there at the end. But this is the symbol for the 10th character, which is at the end of the code. So the end of the code is at the end of the team, where it is always the beginning of every move. So S for Spore, Salt Cure, Shed Tail, and Silk Trap means that you need an S for the 10th slot of the code. And so yeah, once you combine everything together, it becomes a hodgepodge of images, but you can see that we have gone over every single one of the letters in the code and how to get it, and from the first 2 clues you can know whether it's a capital or a lowercase, and ideally you plug the code into the https:/discord thing, as I mentioned before, and then you're on the Discord. So we'll see if anybody actually manages to do it, or if I just have to upload the Discord in like a couple weeks, because nobody really cares about the ARG. It is very possible that nobody's gonna care, but I mean, I think it's kind of neat. But I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.